Welcome everyone to this very special program. I am your host, Aubrey Batchelor. Sailing this amazing ship of knowledge with me is Chris Jacobs, and you are entering the conspiracy sector. You are officially entering the conspiracy sector in the year 2026. So we wish you all a very happy new year, and we hope it's going good for you so far. And it is officially 2 weeks into the new year, and this is kind of classic for us as we like doing our New Year's prediction show around this time, give a week or two into the new year, see how things are playing out. And it's already, playing out to be crazy. As naturally, there's one. Every day's a new year as far as I'm concerned because every day's new.
Exactly. There you go.
But a lot can change in a day and then throughout the year. Therefore, this prediction show becomes pretty fascinating, but also it's one of the more challenging shows during the year because you're trying to predict what's going to happen and talk about what's going on. And we want to hear what your guys' beliefs are with your own theories, with what you think is going to take place. Geopolitics, UFO revelations, whatever it is, we want you to comment your answers and let us know what you think is going to take place over the course of this next year and, kind of short, long term predictions like 5 years, what you think is going to take place. But we're going to be touching on a few different random things, piggybacking off of each other. So, obviously the sky's the limit. There's a million things that could happen, but we're going to talk about a good probably 5 to 10 of them and elaborate off of them.
Okay.
But I think I'll just go ahead and get started here, Chris. I want to share. I want to dive on in and let's talk about AI. And this is 5 AI predictions for the year 2030. And we've already seen, let's all play Time Machine for a bit. Remember whenever you Google a question just a year ago before AI and you had to search all these web pages and now everything pops up? Well, here's some, this is like I was saying, some long-term predictions, short-term predictions. This is kind of next year to 5 years here. At the end of 2023, we published a list of 10 predictions for AI in 2024. This comes from Forbes, by the way, too, which surprised me. Uh, making making predictions for that year ahead is difficult enough. What if we tried to predict the future, not 1 year, but half a decade out? The further into the future we attempted to peer, the hazier things look and the more speculative our thinking must become. If one thing is certain in technology is that no one can actually predict the future, and that we are all going to be surprised on how things play out, which is kind of somewhat true, but you can still kind of partially predict it.
hmm
But putting a stake in the ground about how things will unfold is nonetheless an informative and fun thought experiment. Below are 5 bold predictions about what the world of artificial intelligence will look like in the year 2030. Whether you agree or disagree with these predictions, we hope that they get you thinking. Number one is NVIDIA's market capitalization will be meaningfully lower than it is today. Intel's will be meaningfully higher than it is today. And NVIDIA is the hottest company in the world right now. It has been the biggest beneficiary of today's generative AI boom, with its market cap skyrocketing from under 300 billion in late 2022 to over 2 trillion today. I mean, that is a massive jump for a company. But NVIDIA's position as the single dominant provider of chips for AI cannot and will not last. What NVIDIA has built is difficult, but not impossible to replicate. A resurgent AMD is emerging as a credible alternative provider with advanced GPUs. With its cutting-edge new MI300 chip about to become widely available, the big tech companies Amazon, Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, and all are investing heavily to develop their own AI chips in order to lessen their dependence on NVIDIA. And AI Sam Altman is seeking up to trillions of dollars of capital to build a new chip company in order to diversify the world's supply of AI hardware. As demand for AI chips continues to grow in the years ahead, relentless market forces will ensure that more competitors will enter, supply will increase, prices will drop, margins will tighten, NVIDIA's market share will fall. In addition, as the market matures in the years ahead, the primary type of AI computing workload will shift from training to inference. That is, from AI models to deploying those models in real world settings. NVIDIA's highly specialized chips are unrivaled when it comes to training models. But in inference can be done with cheaper and more commoditized chips, which may undermine NVIDIA's advantage in the market and create an opening for competitors. None of this is to say that NVIDIA will not still be an important part of the AI ecosystem in 2030, but the current stratospheric run-up in its stock price, which has made the third most valuable company in the world as of this writing, larger than Amazon or Alphabet, will in retrospect look like irrational exuberance. Meanwhile, what is the one thing that sets Intel apart from virtually every other chip company in the world? It manufactures its own chips. NVIDIA, AMD, Qualcomm, Broadcom, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Cerebras, Samba Nova, Grok. None of these companies build their own chips. Instead, they design chips and then they rely on other companies. Most importantly, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company to produce these chips for them. Intel alone owns and operates its own chip fabrication facilities. The ability to manufacture chips has become a vital geopolitical asset. Case in point, China's utter dependence on foreign semiconductor suppliers has enabled the U.S. to handicap China's domestic AI by banning the import of AI chips to China. U.S. policymakers are acutely aware of vulnerabilities posed by the extreme concentration of chip manufacturing in Taiwan today, especially as China adopts an increasingly hawkish stance towards the island. Promoting advanced semiconductor manufacturing on U.S. soil has become a top policy priority for the U.S. government. U.S. lawmakers are taking decisive action to advance this goal, including committing a whopping $280 billion to the effort under the 2022 CHIPS Act. It is in no secret that Intel has fallen behind TSMC over the last decade in its ability to manufacture cutting-edge chips, yet it still remains one of the few companies in the world capable of fabricating advanced semiconductors. Under CEO Pat Gelsinger, who took the helm in 2021, Intel has represented chip fabrication and undertaken an ambitious strategy to reclaim its former position as the world's preeminent chip manufacturer. There are recent indications that the company is making progress towards that goal. And perhaps most importantly, there is simply no other option to serve as America's homegrown chip manufacturing leader. U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, who leads the Biden administration's efforts on AI and chips, acknowledged this directly in recent speech. Intel is the country's champion chip company. Put simply, America needs Intel, and that bodes well for Intel's commercial prospects. NVIDIA's cap market today is $2.2 trillion. Intel at $186 billion is more than an order of magnitude smaller. We predict that this gap will have shrunk significantly by 2030. So, according to that, it's going to say that companies are going to start getting more competitive when it comes to chip, and I want to go off of that a little bit. So I think that AI is going to replace, obviously, it's said that, things like smart fridges and home appliances and tinier things are already becoming more smart, but, they want everything to be interfaced to where, it's kind of like literally like Skynet, to where all these machines are connected in a way. But, there's the deployment of all these different technologies. So I think that, in this next year, we're going to see the technological race, as I say it. I feel like, back when we were in the space age race, the technology to race to space. That's where I feel like we are right now when it comes to technology as a whole. All these countries, all these companies want to have the biggest, the baddest, the biggest, baddest, smartest, most capability servant robot. So I really think that when it comes to technology and jobs and resources for such said technology, I think that's where the fight's going to be, and it's going to be a lot of discussions that'll be brewing over the course of the next year to two as jobs slowly are eradicated by technology. There's going to be that fight, with people that, it's just going to not be pretty. We're living in this time where humans and technology are merging more than they ever have. And it's just gonna, I don't know. There's so much backlash that can happen. It can either benefit humanity or it can kill us. That's basically what it's a teeter totter, and it's going to be one or the other.
What I think though is you're going to start seeing, and I've already started to see this pattern in the past couple of years, but I think this is going to increase. You're right, there's going to be more competitiveness, but for those that are not just starting out, but those that are slightly smaller than the already establishment
hmm
of them will start to either get crushed, start to be bought out more, and start to just their resources will start to dwindle.
Yep. Yeah, and you're spot on too. I think either they'll be bought out, yeah, and re-resourced, and whatever they were working on will be absorbed by the bigger company,
Mm-hmm.
or just trashed and eliminated out of fear of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're right. There's probably only going to be one or two that might sneak up on in there, and who knows? It's probably some little tiny company right now where somebody's going to make millions in the stock market in like 5 or 6 years from
Well, the
now.
bigger ones, what they do is they notice it, then like I said, buy them out, notice that there's something innovative, use it. You'll start to see a greater influx of different softwares and different hardwares as well that are leading more towards a more of a unified or globalish like type of software being used, or like I nicknamed it the one ring to rule them all kind of thing. So well, you'll start to see companies fail, but they're actually all being controlled by certain shadow corporations and things of that nature. You'll start to see that not to scare anybody. I don't think it's going to go New World Order. Everybody can stop that part of it, but I still think technology is going to grow more and more, and it's up to people to decide whether it becomes more useful or it harms you. So,
Yeah.
mm,
Like we were talking pre-show, when it comes to like productions of the movies and TV, Netflix, Disney, you guys, you win it all. It's good. One
right.
company will control everything. That is what we don't need, or very few companies will control everything. And
Yeah.
it's already sort of taken off that way. If you look at, all the food companies and that are owned by the say it's just crazy. It's like a whole tree web of companies go back to one company, when it comes to
Yeah, and what was interesting in regards to Disney, when Discovery bought out Warner Brothers quite a while back, there were talks with Discovery and Disney, and then also the whole thing with Marvel and Disney, where this part of Marvel isn't Disney, but this is, and they're selling characters back and forth. Folks, they're all Disney.
hmm
Just to put it right out there, that's Disney causing controversy for itself, so people have the illusion that there's competition going on. Uh, that's basically how I see it. Viacom, that's already been confirmed. They own all the communications companies, and so yeah, so you have all these giant corporations. They've made the illusion of competition. It's still a monopoly. The monopoly is still a monopoly.
yeah.
So, and they just like back when Rockefeller was doing doing the oil, they said no monopolies. What they did is they made it so that you could make all these little shill companies and everything, and nobody would be the wiser. Yeah, it's still monopoly as far as I'm concerned. So, if we can't get away with it, they can't get away with it. If we tried using their tactics, and also the federal government too, and I tried trademarking when I tried trademarking things, you have the regular person has to try extra hard to keep a trademark because that's what a lawyer told me. Basically, the federal government goes, "Oh, you want to play in our circles? You want to be like us? You have to try extra hard to get as far as we did." And so, just try getting a trademark on anything. You guys will see what I mean. On any company, anything you create now, just try getting a trademark registered. Uh, it is extremely hard to do so on anything, and I'm not just technology. Technology is the one you can get slightly easier. On anything, really, it is very, very difficult because they do not want competition, and the federal government's in on it too. So, big
Naturally.
time. Always has been, and they're on the take with it as well. So yeah, the jump in this, I believe you're going to see is not necessarily transhumanism. That's preventable. But what I'm saying is the companies, you're going to start to see some just merge together like mercury blobs after a while, and you're
hmm
going to be stuck with the bigger ones out in the open again. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it unless you co-create differently. in that way and notice it sooner. That's why I'm saying it right now. My prediction is this is at least they're going to make the attempt. So,
Yeah, I think you're pretty well spot on. And then I'll continue on. Number two, we will interact with a wide range of AIs in our daily lives as naturally as we interact with other humans today. So there's that kind of, you were talking transhumanism. I'm going to think that's even more a further form of transhumanism as we become
mhm.
more comfortable with these machines and we use these different machines and AI platforms and technologies to quote unquote benefit our betterment. Uh, no, I don't want that. Even though the entire world is buzzing about our AI right now, the number of touch points that the average person actually has with cutting edge AI systems today is limited. The occasional query to Chat GPT or Google Bard, Gemini, perhaps. By the year 2030, this will have changed in dramatic fashion. We will use AIs as our personal assistants, our tutors, our career counselors, our therapists, our accountants, our lawyers. They'll be ubiquitous in our work lives, conducting analyses, writing code, building products, selling products, supporting customers, coordinating across teams and organizations, making strategic decisions. They said, oh, wait, they forgot here, controlling humans. And yes, by 2030, it will be commonplace for humans to have AIs as significant others. Oh, God. Uh, I fell in love with a sex machine.
It's already happening. Yeah.
Yeah, sex bots. As with any new technology, there will be an adoption curve, as you know, we were talking about. I guess that's a perfect term, adoption curve. Where some portions of the population will be more readily adjust to interacting with their new AI peers. Others will resist for longer, which is why I've read a few books about machine takeovers. The best form of armory weaponry you can have against a mean, shitty robot, gallons of maple syrup. Pour maple syrup on them. Apparently, that will stop machines from working. So good to know for the future if there is an AI takeover in the future. Um the proliferation of AIs throughout our society will unfold like the famous Ernest Hemingway line about how people go bankrupt gradually, then suddenly. But
Hmm.
make no mistake, this transition will be inevitable. It will be inevitable because AIs will be able to do so much of what humans do today, except cheaper, faster, and more reliable. So that was the biggest point, I think, is whether it's uh, something happens in this next year to where a company replaces, like 500 jobs with AI or something. It's going to start off slow, like it said right there, gradually, then suddenly. Yeah, no, I feel like so it could happen in the next year, but I think it's going to be more along the lines of 5 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're right. I know in some areas it's gotten kind of ridiculous where they put AI in charge. I went to a McDonald's of all places. McDonald's, if you're doing this in your local area, stop it because I went in. We went to one where they had the AI as the to go person on the intercom outside, and it was the AI taking the order. Not shitting you on this one. This one has to stop because it's gotten ridiculous. First they outsourced, now they had it where nobody has the job. People don't always like doing those jobs, but they need them at the moment. So
Hmm.
while we still have this financial system in place, when you want to go full Star Trek world and not have money, you go for it, whatever you want to do. But just know a human can't be replaced in that area. Plus, yeah, we went into, I saw also they have these self-checkout deals at McDonald's, which sometimes that's convenient where the person can take an order on that when it gets busy. That's actually convenient, but that's as far as it should go. At that.
Well, I'm kind of opposed to self-checkouts. I have been ever since they first came because there's a perfect example. Right there when self-checkouts first came,
Oh, they were horrible.
my first thought was elimination of jobs. So there we go. These companies are going to get richer, or they're, more revenue for them. You know what I do every time I use a self-checkout lane?
Hmm.
If I have like 5 apples, I only pay for 4 of them. If I have, fuck these people. If I'm working on their, I'm supposed to be able to shop here, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, the first ones that came out around 2008, 2009 in the Walmart that I was working in Tempe, Arizona,
Yeah,
those things broke down constantly. And
yeah. The early versions of them weren't the most reliable.
no, they push those out the door too quick. Now, the ones that we do use, what I find funny is that all these companies sell to all of the store chains. Well, we went to one at a Fry's one time in Arizona, and the thing had the thing, "Thank you for shopping at Walmart." And apparently they refurbished one and sent it over to Fry's. But I found it hilarious because yeah, you're right. They need to have more people doing the job than these machines. The same goes online. If you're a company that is just strictly getting rid of all your employees and you're just going strictly, well, we can do this more cheaply with AI. Cheaply, yes. More has more soul in it. No. You need a graphic artist. You need somebody that can do both, because I've interwoven both in some of our graphic arts work before. But you got to have both. Companies, if you're just going one over the other, no. Yeah, you need to continue to hire humans in this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, and do what is right, not what is easy. So this is
Hmm.
where it needs to be. This is where companies need to buttress this new advancement with temperance. So you got to have humans. You got, of course, AI is here to stay. So you have to have it evenly balanced, like a yin and yang. You can't just go all one or the other, like in Fallout, where they had robots taking the places of managers and deans in schools and
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. That got ridiculous. So the obviously the writer was showing how ridiculous that would get after a while. But that's where it's going, folks, unless you don't allow it. And if you're a company doing this, you deserve to implode at that point.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy. I don't know what's going to take place exactly, but and then number three, excuse me, over 100,000 humanoid robots will be deployed in the real world. So we've seen how Elon Tesla, he's trying to release a servant robot, one that can help you. So I think that is kind of the ultimate goal when it comes to when you think of like robots and servants, you think of like the Jetson lady robot.
Right.
Let's go back in time. You think of like a serving robot. I think that's kind of the ultimate goal behind these companies is to get a sentient, I'm going to say sentient, to where the machine can kind of understand human emotion in a way. And it can understand your commands and it can do anything you tell it to do. But
Mm.
that's a long ways away, I think. I think a
Yeah.
lot of it's just fantasy talk. And like I said, to where, I'm a maintenance custodian, you know. I feel, there's a lot of machines like automatic scrubbers that can drive themselves and stuff like that. But I feel my job will never be replaceable by a machine. I don't care how good it is. There's just no way a machine can do it.
No,
There's
there
no
really is.
way a machine can do my job. And I feel as if uh I feel as if uh I guess that's going to be the biggest point, at some point. When machines replace most of everybody's jobs, number one, how do those people get paid? And number two, the people that are still working better be making a lot of money.
Hmm.
Like I have make generic average money.
Yeah.
Struggle money. I should be making twice that amount of what I'm making now if I'm only like 10% of the population that's left beating up my body working.
Yeah,
That's
even Trek predicted this, where they made it so the starships were powered by AI, and the whole point was they were in exploration mode. They weren't Doesn't mean that you automate that. And then the AI went rogue and started shooting at other ships and everything. And because it was built through fear, not through unity. And the original creator figured this out, and he went insane. So it turned out he was insane to begin with in the show.
That
So
Star Trek was wild.
yeah, yeah.
Everything they thought of, and I wonder how all those writers did it.
Oh yeah, Roddenberry had a shoe in both Galactic Rome and a lot of this other stuff that's going on
That's
now.
like us taking all the technology we know nowadays and like predicting what it's going to be like 50 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. That, and also there's another area. Me and Joanna just got back from the Cosmic Contact Conference in Timonium, Maryland this weekend. And what happened, and this is today's 114, we were there through on the 10th and 11th. And what happened was it's a great conference, great people. You need that unity in person. The sad thing is everybody's moving to online. And
Yeah.
this is what's making these conferences fail. Folks, you cannot replace the in-person unity and camaraderie. You cannot replace that. If anybody's starting their conference online, please, I am discouraging you from doing this. Start a physical gathering, even if it's like 10 people. So just,
Hmm.
or 10 vendors. Just do that. Have in-person camaraderie. You cannot replace it online, no matter how much you do here. In person is so much better. And yes, can you do some things online? Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like these shows that we're doing now, absolutely. But this is the only way you could do this. But there, and of course, you can live stream a conference if somebody can't make it. Fine, great, awesome. Record it too. But in person, would the energy have been the same? Not having been there, but doing it this way? No, absolutely not. It was wonderful conference to go to. We didn't quite make all our money back, but at that point in the conference, we didn't completely care because we got involved in the energy. So that's what you want. You want both sides. You want the yin and yang, financial and energetic, to be one. And that did it. That conference did it. So online could have accomplished the same thing. No. Uh, so uh,
Yeah.
so I could
You don't get the same energy. You don't get everybody there. See,
no.
that's what separates humans from machines.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, do I think there'll be some sentient AIs out there and are currently out in the galaxy? Yeah, that could feel and could do things similar. Yeah, maybe. But have I seen some spark of it here on Earth? Yeah, but I've also seen spark of the negative too. So here on Earth. So here it's a wild, wild west. But negating anything galactic in this moving forward. My prediction is that with these conferences, they're already starting to dwindle. The light bulbs are starting to go out. Don't let them go out because once they're out, they're out.
Kind of
So
like newspaper.
yeah, newspaper and money. Money, folks, do not let it go all the way digital. That's a form of control. You want physical.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we have to keep the money system, have cash, have digital as well. I know digital is convenient. They're trying to promote. Oh, look how convenient it is. You don't have to carry cash with you. Even a card commercial. I believe it was for Chime or Cash App or something, where you saw Girl Scouts, making money through digital. They showed the one doing digital was making more money than cash, and you saw this one guy was like dropping change everywhere and everything, making it look stupid. If you want to defeat your greatest enemy, you make them look stupid. They're making cash look stupid because they know it's a greater threat against digital currency than digital currency. So they want to accomplish this over here, so they make the other look dumb.
Hmm.
So it's a form of propaganda that's floating out there.
Yeah.
So the whole point is do not let them take away physical currency. You have to push to have both. I know the other is convenient. They're trying to get you to think, oh, psychologically the other is inconvenient to carry around with you. Oh, it could get stolen. Blah blah blah. Somebody could wipe your bank account out tomorrow and steal it that way. It's no difference between one and the other. So yeah, just make sure to have both. You want an even scattering of both. If they go complete digital and they go into a more control system, it is going to be harder than holy hell to backtrack from that. So just
Hmm.
prevent them from doing it altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to get into too, is the money, and watch that go to like watch the dollar go away and it goes to all, crypto or something like that. That's been a discussion since Bitcoin first come, is when is Bitcoin gonna replace money? I don't see how it can, but that's a whole nother topic that's 20 feet over my head, and that'll be a whole.
Yeah, I'm no expert in that area, but I know there is a conversion from one to the other.
Yeah, and that could be even worse than the machine takeover, I feel like, because if there's one, okay, money is one of the top three things people kill other people over. And,
Mm-hmm.
war, just person on person crime, it all boils down to money. And this can be thrown into those jobs, and and every place in jobs. What are people going to do if they don't have no money? How are they going to buy things? How are they going to live? I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of these top billionaires like Elon, and everybody thinks everybody's just going to have money sent to them. I don't see how it's going to work. I
No.
just don't see how it's going to work. I just feel as if machines are going to really get in the way of human growth in a way, even though they're supposed to help us grow.
Yeah, they even went into tech at one point where they had certain societies do go away from tech. I don't think you should go away from tech. I think it should be embraced, but not completely all-consuming. It has to be safer, cleaner, and also with the money, what they're also trying to do is make it so even physical money that you've stuffed in your mattress is worthless. Like if somebody's been saving it, it's going to be worthless. They're trying to get you to shove it into a bank account so they can just recollect all the physical money and get rid of it, is what they're trying to
Hmm.
do. Yeah.
Hmm. Great. And then number four, agents and AGI will be outdated terms that are no longer widely used. Two of the hottest topics in AI today are agents and artificial generated intelligence. Agents are AI systems that can complete loosely defined tasks, say planning and booking your upcoming trip. AGI refers to artificial intelligence system that meets or exceeds human capabilities in every dimension. When people envision the state of AI in 2030, agents and or AGI are often front and center. Yeah, we predict that these two terms won't even be widely used by 2030. Why? Because they will cease to be relevant as independent concepts. Let's start with agents. By 2030, agentic behavior will have become a fundamentally essential element of any advanced AI system. What we today refer to using the umbrella term agents is actually just a core set of capabilities that any truly intelligent entity possesses. The ability to think long term, plan, and take action in pursuit of open ended goals. Becoming agentic is the natural and inevitable end state for today's artificial intelligence. Cutting edge AI systems in 2030 will not just generate output when prompted, they will get stuff done. In other words, agents will no longer be one intriguing subfield within AI research as they are today. AI will be agents, and agents will be AI. There will thus be no use for the term agent as a standalone concept. What about the term AGI? Artificial intelligence is fundamentally unlike human intelligence, a basic truth that people often fail to grasp. AI will become mind bogglingly more powerful in the years ahead, but we will stop conceptualizing its trajectory as heading towards some generalized end state, especially one whose contours are defined by human capabilities. AI great Yan Li Kun summed it up well. There is no such thing as AGI. Even humans are specialized. Using human intelligence as the ultimate anchor and yardstick for the development of AI fails to recognize the full range of powerful, profound, unexpected, societal, beneficial, utterly non human abilities that machine intelligence might be capable of. By 2030, AI will be unfathomably more powerful than humans in ways that will transform our world. It will also continue to lag human capabilities in other ways. If artificial intelligence can, say, understand and explain every detail of human biology down to the atomic level, who cares if it is general in the sense of matching human capabilities across the board? The concept of artificial general intelligence is not particularly coherent. As AI races forward in the years ahead, the term will become increasingly unhelpful and irrelevant. Number five, we've been piggybacking off this since we began talking. AI driven jobs will be one of the most widely discussed political and social issues. So that kind of gives you a little short term prediction on what, Forbes and what we and maybe possibly you think about the future of AI. There's no doubt that it's gonna help humanity, but could it also not help humanity and be the total opposite?
Oh, I think it's already taken away. Certain technologies have taken away from people doing like simple tasks, like say gardening, for instance. There was this argument that of all places was brought up in Harry Potter. This was the where they were doing this in Hogwarts Legacy, where they were showing like these tools, like doing gardening on their own and doing this magic spell was made in a loop to where tools would trim hedges and doing stuff like that. And there was an argument within even that culture that J.K. Rowling brought up where some people did things on their own to make sure people didn't lose being in touch with nature instead of using spells. In this case, it's AI in our world, in machines in our world, where you automate too much and you start to lose things like muscle. You start to lose things like the will to leave your house. You start to lose things like not wanting to interact. Even me being in this room too long and not going out walking and doing stuff like that, I feel it. Could you imagine generations down the road of people letting something automate mowing their lawn, or
Yeah.
automate doing yard work or anything like that? Even though that sounds convenient, what do you lose in the process? And you want to be able to get out there and move around. You want that, or you start to lose part of your actual humanity, and you don't even realize it. And
Yeah.
there's also some dangerous technology out there right now that's actually altering people's personalities. Me and Joanna have already called it being shoved into your big toe, where somebody's personality would change. That's where the Vaxxas came into play. So that falls under the technological viral realm as well. So I think since that enough people have started seeing that, do I think that's going to get curbed? Yeah, but some of the other mind control, getting people to not exercise, not take care of themselves, not go outside once in a
Hmm.
while, but trying to get you away from nature and away to more of a technologically based culture and like a transhumanistic culture. And that's to be avoided. Yet you have to leave choice if some people choose it, but you also have to leave choice of nature as well. So you have to have the yin and yang of choice in there, as long as the transhumanism doesn't try to overtake everybody by force. Like if somebody wants a chip in their head or something, that's their own personal decision. But not forced on everybody, not in a controlled way. Uh, that's where I'm at with that.
Hmm.
But do you have anything else, Robert?
Pretty good overview. Let me
Yeah.
go into the next one then.
Yeah. Okay.
Get out of here. And oops.
Did you lose the tab?
Yeah, I must have lost the tab. The next one I wanted to go into basically was so there's a lot of war games going on. You got Russia, there's just so much going on. Think of everybody playing bully and all the different war tactics that are going on. History, if you don't learn from it, you're always doomed to repeat it. And 100 years ago, we had war, recession, uh, pandemic. We basically had a recession as far as I'm concerned since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't had a world war like we did 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, there's so many war games that are being played. I think it could spark something, to where it could be classified as a world war. But let's do this little combination theory here. We just got done talking about technology. It's a tech war.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that be. We didn't talk about that with AI, but the resources to make this AI, and the things we need for it. I think that things from fighting for resources in different countries, claiming that it's yours now, to space mining for materials. I think these are all going to be things that are going to be hardly talked about and fought about over the course of the next year to 10 years and 20 years. But I think space mining is a topic that's going to come back about, and you're going to hear something about here somewhat soon, maybe with it even in this year, because I think that sort of some of the work that Never a Straight Answer or NASA wants to do is space mine, and a lot of these companies that are trying to venture into space, space equals profit. I mean, literally, space is the terminology. Sky's the limit because it goes on forever. That's the crazy thing. Like I said, there's the universe, and the omniverse, and the omniverse is every inch of everything that's out there, as far as it goes. And it just kind of hard to think because it never comes to an end. You
Hmm.
know, unless there's some wall out there to where it all, oh shit, I can't go any further.
Well, yeah, Trek tried to say there were galactic barriers and walls and things of that nature, like firmament barriers, which I agree there is, but still you can get past them with the right tech. But yeah, I do space mining. I think is already going on.
Yeah,
By the time they tell you things on television, they've already been into it for at least
yeah,
20 or
for
30.
months or years
Yeah.
at that point.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that there could be some revelations in the space mining arena. But with that, I think that there could be a world war spark like there was 100 years ago, or another outbreak of a disease. And I've often said that since the first round of COVID, you know. So there's been some of my predictions I've piggybacked off of for a couple of years, but they've kind of somewhat been true. Like I know that the last couple of years I've said there's going to be more UFO revelations than there has, but there's just never been the one smoking gun thing that, you know, it's in the whole AI or the whole UFO alien field is nothing but, I believe, rounds and rounds and rounds of soft disclosure until their lie is covered up and people just don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flood the market is what they're doing.
Yep. Yep. And we've talked about it before through commercials, through slowly releasing real government things. But now AI, let's throw AI back in there. What is real? What is fake? You know, and now there's so many deep fakes and shit
Mhm.
that AI can do. You don't know what's real anymore. So AI is just confusing people in a way too. You know, when it comes to what's real, what's not.
Oh yeah, yeah, that and the whole World War III premise. You know how many subliminal messages they put, like, say the title for Wonder Woman 1984. They did like Orwell's 1984. You add up the numbers, it's
Yeah.
W3, and that's subliminal. And also on the news periodically, you hear all the commentators and pundits saying to World War III, will this spark World War III? You're seeing this because they want to gauge what people will believe and allow. The people have to allow that to occur. So and they know the people hold the majority. So they're trying to gauge where their dumbing fields that they've been putting out through the idiot box forever and ever and ever. They're gauging it to see what people will accept a little more and more. And COVID proved that because COVID basically they wanted to see how people would do an outright oppressive situation like that. And it was more of a test at that point. The same thing a little bit later when they tried to say, oh, we got to build camps to isolate people. They were trying to build concentration camps, is what they were trying to do. And people caught on and stopped it very quickly. They went, hey, we know what you're doing. Stop it.
Hmm.
And we're lucky they did. They tried it in Australia and New Zealand. They started to creep over to the United States in the form of FEMA camps. And some of those little spots are still there, but nobody occupies them. People caught and went, wait a minute, we know what you're doing. And so people, you got to catch on with the whole World War III vernacular. They're trying to repeat history like they did with contagious diseases, Black Plague. They even went back as far back as the medieval times, where they also undermined. They noticed that back in time they considered merchants being really really good back then and royalty. Now what are they doing? They're undermining the sovereignty of people's businesses by trying, and Mondami in New York is doing this by basically saying, oh, government run grocery stores, nobody can own their own home. That's a communist viewpoint, folks. It never works because somebody at the top will always rule how many resources you have. At least with capitalism, yeah, is it ruling through capitalism? Yes, but it's more spread out and they can't control it as easily as they could a communist state. So you can't allow something like that. Because yeah, they're both control mechanisms. Capitalism's control, and so is communism. But if you have outright food resources going through one resource, how they would want it, it would be harder to get those resources. Capitalism, at least, yeah, if you're paying higher, yeah, but at least it's available to you in any grocery store.
Hmm.
So yeah, see how one's better than the other, even though it's extremely
Hmm.
unfair. That's why that was set up the other way because it's the antithesis of the one that's worse. So you don't want it to go that way, and that's how they're wanting it. And I did notice one thing, and this is something that people missed. And I caught this on the news broadcast. I'm thinking, oh, I hope more people notice this. I'm on neither side of the political fence, just to tell everybody.
Same.
Everybody was points fingers at the left being communist and socialist and all this other stuff. And yes, that they did lean that way. But at the same time, I noticed Trump enacted a policy on credit card companies and to basically saying you cannot charge this amount of interest on credit cards went above a certain amount. I went, wait a minute, that's a communist move because the moment you tell a company what they can and cannot charge, government wise, that you just became a communist state at that point. And regardless of whether you agree with that particular company's method of implementing their capitalistic rights, you can't tell them what they can and cannot charge. And that's like basically saying telling them what they can and cannot believe or say.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. It's just packaged differently. And I just happened to catch that on the news. So if anybody else sees that, let us know. But that it was just this tiny little blurb saying, "Oh, there was a law passed saying credit card companies can't do this." I'm going, wait a minute, you just told them what they couldn't charge or couldn't charge, and it slipped under the radar. And before there was also one of Trump's people said that we're looking goes it online they were looking for people that had basically saying suspicious things or basically saying, oh, this is threatening language. I'm like, wait a minute, you can't say that, that's a communist state. And also the other side was saying that too, changing the language. Orwell warned of this from any and all government bodies. Basically, it didn't matter what party. You got to look for the signs of where they're trying to dictate what language looks like, the belief looks like, finances look like, all of that. And that also goes to going to digital currency, everything. And I'm not blaming one political pundit over another. I'm just saying the pattern that is popping up. And if you wipe your political party preferences away completely and look at the pattern across both of them, you're going to see not only they're all on the same team, but it's all part of the same conspiratorial game plan, and narrative they have going on. If you look at both and quit aligning yourself with one or the other, you have to look at both. Not blaming any of them if they don't even know they're involved in some of this, but still, I know from liberal to conservative or Democrat, Republican, I've seen on both ends of the spectrum the same narrative popping up.
Mm-hmm. The same craziness coming out.
Yeah. So the same identical thing. It's just the Republican side's more subtle about it.
Yeah.
They'll put it in there. The liberal side or the Democratic side's more loud about it.
Mm-hmm.
So just one's quieter, one's more subtle, one's loud with a bullhorn. So
One's more controlling, one's more crazy.
yeah. Yeah, so if you notice the pattern, it went from loud to quiet, but the same underlying thing was happening the whole time. So, if people notice that, let us know. But yeah, that's what I was able to pretty much.
I notice it. Can't you see this is a land of confusion?
Right.
And there's not much love to go around.
Exactly. Disturbed. Yeah, and also I believe it was Genesis that originally wrote that. But,
Yeah, and that leads me, hey, let's everybody comment this right now. What's your theory? Is Greenland going to become the 51st state?
right.
There could be World War right there. Which,
Or Venezuela or Canada. One of
well, that's everybody. That's what I meant by everybody's playing games. Everybody's playing the games.
those.
China and Taiwan, Russia and Ukraine, U.S., Venezuela, Greenland. There's a lot of shit going on everywhere.
It's all resource acquisition and piracy, folks. It had nothing to do with the safety of the people down there in Venezuela. It's piracy.
Yeah, basically.
Is what it is. Now I'm not saying any of the soldiers or the ICE or any of them or cops or any of them. I'm saying some of them actually genuinely believe they were doing good. But anytime you see lines on a map shifting, it's about usually one thing: resource acquisition, and that spells piracy. So.
Mm-hmm.
So not the cool kind either with the skull and crossbones. I'm talking about the the other kind. So yeah, that not the style either. This is more Somali pirate territory over here. So the bad kind. And I'm not against law and order. I like the fact that things are being cleaned up. I like if it was genuine over the war on drugs, absolutely cool. But at the same time, look at the subtleties. Look at the things that they're not saying, and also the subtleties of things, little hints they're making. But it's like what Sherlock Holmes would have said in the novels. It's basically what they are not saying is the most important. And so, and not doing.
Mm.
So you got to watch it. You got to watch all across the board, and then kind of mean average all of it together. But notice it is the best part right here. Then you can change. You can change the whole tides of war. You can change all of it by just by noticing it. So, I don't know if you have anything else to share, Aubrey.
Yeah, one more thing, and then we'll get out. Go into some questioning. I want to talk a little bit about health. And this is the Healthy People 2030 framework that I'm pretty sure Bobby Kennedy and a bunch of other people are cooking up. You know. Uh, So, what is the Healthy People 2030 framework? The framework encompasses the central ideas and function of Healthy People 2030. The purpose of the framework is to provide context and rationale for Healthy People 2030's approach, communicate the principles that underline decisions about the initiative, situate the 2030 initiative in Healthy People's history. In addition to Healthy People 2030 vision and mission, the framework includes foundational principles, overachieving goals, plan of action, history, and context. Their vision, a society in which all people can achieve their full potential for health and well-being across the lifespan. Mission, to promote, strengthen, and evaluate the nation's efforts to improve the health and well-being of all people. Foundational principles. The following foundational principles guide discusses about Healthy People 2030. The health and well-being of all people and communities is essential to a thriving society. Prompting health and well-being and preventing disease are linked efforts that encompasses physical, mental, and social health dimensions. Investing to achieve the full potential for health and well-being for all provides valuable benefits to society. Achieving health and well-being requires eliminating health disparities, improving health for all people, and attaining health literacy. Healthy physical, social, and economic environments strengthen the potential to achieve health and well-being. Promoting and achieving health and well-being nationwide is a shared responsibility that is distributed across the national, state, tribal, and community levels, including the public, private, and not-for-profit sectors. Working to attain the full potential for health and well-being of population is a component of decision-making and policy formulation across all sectors. Overachieving goals. Achieving these broad and ambitious goals requires setting, working toward, and achieving a wide range of much more specific goals. Healthy People 2030. So you want to attain healthy, thriving lives, well-being free of preventable disease, disability, injury, and premature death, eliminate health disparities, achieve improved health for all people, and attain health literacy to improve the health of and well-being of all. Create social, physical, and economic environments that promote attaining the full potential and health and well-being for all. Promote healthy development, healthy behaviors, and well-being across all life stages. Engage leadership, key constituents, and public across multiple sectors to take action and design policies that improve the health and well-being of all. Plan of action. It's important to provide information and tools that communicate states and organizations use Healthy People. The Healthy People 2030 plan of action is to set national goals and measurable objectives to guide evidence-based policies, programs, and other actions to improve health and well-being. Provide accurate, timely, and accessible data that can drive targeted actions to address regions and populations that have poor health or at risk of poor health. Foster impact through public and private efforts to improve health and well-being for people of all ages and the communities of which they live. Provide tools for the public programs, policymakers, and others to evaluate progress towards improving health and well-being. Share and support the implement of evidence-based programs and policies that are replaceable, scalable, and sustainable. Report biannually on the progress throughout the decades from 2020 to 2030. Stimulate research and innovation toward meeting Healthy People 2030 goals and highlight critical research data and evaluation needs. And facilitate the development and availability of affordable means of health promotion, disease prevention, and treatment. So these are kind of the U.S. government's quote unquote health goals for the next 5 years. And the only reason I wanted to talk about this because I've long believed don't trust the government with my health, but I feel as if Bobby Kennedy is changing things, not all for the better, but somewhat for the better.
Hmm.
And I wanted to talk about, like foods and artificial colors that he's trying to ban. So I feel that, quote unquote, we're going to get healthier as a nation if everybody jumps on board. And it all starts with eliminating shit in our food supply. Like I said, it doesn't take anybody to look around. We've done it for years. Other countries don't allow what the U.S. allows because of profit. And I want to see that go away, but we have to see that go away and things phase out slowly for people to get healthy. And we're going to go over his quote gradually, then suddenly. So hopefully people catch on. And the only number one way to do that is to detox and to eat good and to avoid bad stuff. But that's a lot easier said than done.
Very
Uh,
much easier than that.
yeah, I mean, a lot easier said than done. So I believe that once again, they're going to incorporate machines with health. And he's even said, and that's one thing I'm against. He wants everybody to have a wearable health device, which I know I can't. I've wore smartwatches before, me personally, and let me know if anybody else has had this problem because I've only talked to a few people. Whenever I wear a smartwatch or I have anything on me that has as a, like a pulse in thing, it gives me like heart palpitations where my heart skips beats, and I feel weird, and it just throws me off. And
It's the radioactivity of not only the lithium that's in the battery in it, but it's also the waves that are coming off of it. Yeah, even my if my phone is too close to my chest, my heart starts to palpitate. So
yeah, and so that leads me into that. So what's going to come with our health at the end of the day? And like I said, a lot of it, the sky's the limit. There's a lot of predictions and things that could come up with that topic. But I'm very well going to say that you're going to see phasing out of more artificial colors, more of your generic bad things that are in your food. There's already companies that are getting ahead of it because they know. They're just doing it now so they can get it done and over with.
yeah, they
So,
know it's going this way. That's why the government's on board with it. They know they can take this punch and just kind of sit in the background and avoid other punches. So it's like,
and I want to combine that with the economy real quick for one statement. We can probably go into the question if you'd like. I'll never forget Trump's quote when he took office a year ago. He said something along the lines of, uh, "Short term or long term gain will outweigh the short term pain of like prices." And I fear that they're never going to go back down. All this talk, it's all fancy talk. I mean, I'm still struggling at the grocery store. Gas has gone down a little bit, but not tremendously.
at some
I,
point, it's got to burst.
yeah,
Stand they're
I
trying
did.
to sell the country's debt off to something like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency so that it translates it weird so that then the prices never go down again. See, so
Yeah, I know. So welcome to the new norm.
hmm yeah, it's
But
you
I,
want.
I don't know. When it comes to everything else, hopefully we kind of gave you uh, a good in-depth view of the topics we talked about. Because obviously this year I focused a little bit more on AI for myself, just because I feel like it's going to be involved in so many things. It's going to be involved in almost everything we talked about, and to
Mhm.
a certain extent. And so I really think that 2026, hopefully it's a good year for everybody. I hope it is, but I think it could be a chaotic one,
Mhm.
globally, socially, structurally, that sort of thing, world changing sort of a year.
Kind of like a growing pains kind of a year, you
A
know.
little bit.
So
Yeah.
those
And, there's just so much that's going on.
yeah, and in medical, I know Joanna's in medical, and she hates the job. The way they do things is more for monetary than it would be for actual healthcare.
Hmm.
The medical industry and it's a more of a profession, not an industry. You got to get off the stock market. You got to
They
be
don't care about people, they care about profits.
yeah, and if you want money, sell T-shirts like I've had to. It's just like
People? Who gives a fuck about the people? I want profits here.
Yeah, there's basically Ferengi running the medical industry, so it's all for profit. Basically the Ferengi Commerce Authority, pretty much. So you don't want that. If anybody watches Star Trek, you know what I mean. So it's all for profit, all for gain. So so that's where I'm at. You know, with medical, it's got to be free at some point. It's going to get so bad. And I've noticed that also with these private, not necessarily private practices. I don't want to say that. I've noticed with some of these other little private companies, like the one she works for, they basically are the Gestapo when it comes to having new cases come in when you have no staff to implement it, and then those people suffer because they've just had some more false advertising given to them as to what the benefits actually are, when in fact they're being been lied to the whole time. And who gets the brunt? The people that are actually just doing the job and not necessarily the high mucky muck guys at the top. Those are your target, folks. If you're mad at something happened down here, it's these guys up here that did it. But the ones that
Blame them.
got to quit allowing it too. So,
Everybody point your finger at them.
yeah. Okay, I think we're at a good point of Q&A here. So let's say,
That'd work.
hmm, man, kind of dreary today. It's a dry throat kind of day here. So yeah. Okay, who's talking here? Let's see. All right. Okay, Drew Benevolence, not like Genesis. This one. Yes, not too much to say on this. My name is Elena, and in lieu of others not being around, I will speak on or touch on this. Yes, your predictions are accurate, but also not just over a year period. It's several years, at least five, as you were saying. So, with that said, yes, he is correct. You cannot allow certain changes to take place. Look for the subtleties, look for the silent periods, look for what is not being uttered or not being said. Look at the mannerisms, look away from your theater puppet stage, political stage, and look at the production that is taking place, the production value, let's say, of what's going on. In this case, it is chaos that causes the biggest production value in the guise of order, winking out of existence things that may be beneficial to people later on, but and to the little guy, feeding that of the larger corporations, that of the larger companies, both computer technology and that AI, and that of financial and medical. All of these are interwoven. Once they decouple from one another and with decouple from politics, you will start to see a better world at that point. Now, are certain groups out there trying to gear things more for into the galactic realm, whereas it's similar to certain what they feel is more beneficial finances out there? Yes, but at the same time, there is a way that you guys can have your own individuality and actually trade on a galactic level at some point in the future. Now, with just purely an earthly thing, excuse, I have to get rid of one thing. Now, with that interruption out of the way, the some psionic energy was coming this direction. With that out of the way, I will just go into questions.
Yeah, so when it comes to AI and its advancement, there's a lot of fears. There most of the time people focus on the bad, but with what you think that AI could become in the future, talk about some of the good on to where, people can use these.
It's the
Yeah,
same.
so like I said, it's kind of tough to predict, but obviously it's going to grow and help us more, quote unquote. So,
Mhm.
elaborate off of that.
It's the same as like what you see in Star Trek, where say if somebody wishes to collate some records for some research they're doing, or some crime that needs to be solved, or something of that nature, they left human deductive reasoning in charge, but at the same time they had a computer that could collate a bunch together, looking for keywords, things of this nature. Archiving, library librarian type positions, things of this nature. You always say the Dewey Decimal System. That is a benefit for AI collation. What is not a benefit is if they make all the books digital. But some of your businesses out there selling books have lost out because they refused to get on board the AI train. So, with that said, you have to have both in all respects. The positive can outweigh the negative. Like, say, if there is a device created, a medical device that, like, say, your pacemaker, for instance, that helps the heart. If there is a device that's smaller and more efficient than that, that could just be like, say, a sticker or something like that that can help out in that area. Great. Or even on a nanotech level that could repair the heart muscle or repair a bone quicker, not taking away from the human side of healing. No. What do you see in Star Trek? You see dermal regenerators that can seal cuts, things of this nature that are computerized. AI also, you see, like, say, in your Trek scenarios, people may think this is fiction. This is not. Whereas you can actually help even with surgeries. Now, with putting a set of instructions up or set of, like, say, a screen up over the top of the person getting the surgery, like you see the archway over the med beds in Star Trek, where the doctor can look straight through into a specific spot in the body and extract whatever the thing is they need to extract, or to do the surgeries they need to do in a quarter of the time. This can actually advance, say, doing knee surgeries, from gallbladder surgeries to appendicitis to heart surgeries. You don't necessarily have to rip the person open anymore to do these things. You could literally put something in someone that the doctor could then control to work with, or have regenerative type of technologies that you could command an AI to work with. The medical field is actually going to benefit most in a scenario such as that. That is the largest one.
Yeah, pretty good information. So let's combine that with health then. So, why do you believe, other than profits and, yeah, I guess doing things easier and cutting out, I don't even know how it's easier, but how they cut these foods and they've mass produced these foods, how come they've always done it for cheaper and they haven't done it to better health? People have always wondered, there's healthier ways it could be done this whole time, but it's always just been mass produced cheap crap that's never changed up until somebody makes ruckus about it.
Until somebody makes ruckus about it. You said it, Aubrey, because of the fact that it is a control mechanism that has poisons and toxins in it to make your brain slower. So you did not critically think your way through problems. You would just do what is easy and not what is right. And the same goes with certain psionic mind control with your technologies. Your COVID, again, was a test to see how much people would resist, and also some of your things popping up in your theater puppets. That will be your news and politics and politicians and all. You're being tested in this particular area to see how much you actually will allow them to do or not do. Now, the toxins in the food, they notice people are focusing on this heavily, so they capitulated and are allowing changes in there. As he said, they're hanging back, trying to figure out what other things to control more in the background. So they keep poking at AI more, they keep poking at computers more. They figured they'd let the food thing go. They had a good long run with that. They're letting that go. This is why certain things, the crappier stuff is cheaper and the better stuff is more expensive. That will slowly, the table will turn there, like a teeter-totter. It will take some time, but more people have to notice. The same thing with your housing market. If you want cheaper housing, they're trying to do a have and have not, where people that they think are useless eaters won't be able to afford homes. They're trying to get everybody to rent versus buy, so that can be more easily controlled and culled. Do not allow this. This is another thing that can be predicted. Do not allow this, but with food, this is a form of a control mechanism. This was the only reason for this.
Nice. So just why don't you leave everybody with just a nice 2026 message for everybody to focus on the year ahead?
Yes, here's something that will make everyone happy, even though that some people don't believe in global warming or anything like this. the weather will start to balance out after a while, the more the weather control is noticed as well. So the nice 2026 message is that people will begin to get out into nature more. People will begin to walk around more, let's just say bare skin under the sun, and that actually, for somebody that likes to look at at people walking around with hardly anything on, this is the time to look. And so that is my prediction. That is the happy prediction for 2026. Go into nature more, bond with nature, go out on a beach, go in the ocean, go swimming, do things with friends, family, unity. All of these things must apply if you wish to keep your let's just say structure or familiar unit intact. Do not fight over petty differences any longer like what they wished you to do. But 2026, even though it is a growing pains year, as he said, the happy part is people will begin to bond with nature more and be more open about being out in the sunlight again and out under the stars again.
Nice. Thank you. That was very good.
Hmm. All right. Anything else further for myself?
No, that was pretty good. You left everybody with a damn good message for 2026.
Thank you, everyone. Blessings to everybody, and goodbye.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Also, for people that don't know what she looks like, she's the darker haired one right here.
Nice.
Darker haired one there. So yeah. I have the mouse pad here, and I have a picture that's normally back on the shelf. Oh, screen blurred on me there a little bit. Dang camera. Dang camera blurred on me there for a second. But there we are. It's an autofocus, folks, new camera. So it's being a slight pain. But yeah, that was a good message there to so
No, I think that'll leave everybody off pretty good. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we really want to hear your guys' beliefs too, what you guys think is going to happen this next year. Like I said, the sky's the limit, but let us know, and we hope that your 2026 has started off good, and we'll catch you with a really good one coming up here in less than a month.
All right. So at this point, everybody, thank you for watching this show, and this is where you are exiting the conspiracy sector. So thank you, everybody.
Adios.